Are you stuck slashing calories, doing everything right, but your body fat just won't budge? I get it. I've been there myself, and after coaching over 180 guys to drop below 20% body fat, I see the same pattern all the time. Most men start blaming their age or metabolism, but sometimes they were just eating too little. In this video, I'll show you the 3 warning signs you're under eating and how to fix them so you can finally get lean without burning out or regaining the fat 3 months later. That sinking feeling when you realize months of effort have all but vanished. I'll never forget it. About 7 years ago, I was still working in recruitment and I had a holiday looming. Cue the classic panic, quick mirror check, soft around the middle, definite dad body on the rise. So I went all in, decided to lose 30 pounds in 2 months. At 230 pounds, I dropped my calories to 1,700 a day, thinking I was being clever. First week, I dropped 6 pounds. Second week, another 4. I was feeling pretty smug until I stepped under the bar. Suddenly, every weight felt heavier. Just a bad day, I told myself, but week 2, my bench press plummeted by 15 kilos. That cold sweat of self-doubt crept in, but I kept pushing. By week 8, I'd lost 35 pounds. And what looked like mostly muscle, I looked like a deflated version of myself. Flat, weak, and absolutely not the lean guy I pictured. After working with hundreds of men since, beginners and advanced lifters alike, I see it all the time. People get weak in the gym because they're eating too little. The truth is, you should be maintaining or even gaining strength until you're down to around 10 to 15% body fat. If your lifts are dropping week after week, you're not just losing fat, you're losing muscle too. And here's how to avoid my spectacular failure. Track your lifts. Use a notepad or an app because your memory is rubbish, especially when you're on a deficit. Don't add more volume. Stick to your program and focus on progression. Otherwise, you're just comparing apples to elephants and you're going to run out of steam. Most important, eat at least 10 calories per pound of your body weight. At 230 pounds, I should have been eating a minimum of 2,300 calories a day and giving myself 3 to 4 months, not just 8 weeks. So if you're getting noticeably weak in a gym, that's your body's way of telling you you're under fueling. Don't make my mistake. But before I get into sign 2, I've put together a free fat loss calculator that will tell you how much fat you have to lose, how long it will take, and exact calories and protein you need. A link is in the description below. Now, sign 2 is probably one you wouldn't expect, and it goes against what most gurus preach as gospel. When Hassam came to me, his eyes lit up. He boasted about losing 8 pounds a week through fasting and cutting carbs. You could see the pride in his eyes, right until his voice dropped. But after week 2 or 3, I always crack. Then I'm right back to where I started, sometimes heavier. You might be thinking, oh, that sounds brilliant. Who wouldn't want to lose weight quickly? But trust me, that's your lizard brain talking. Here's what we did to break Hassam out of that miserable cycle for good. First, I had him keep a proper food journal. No more guessing or thinking, oh, about this much. The reality was harsh. He was eating just 1,600 calories a day at 212 pounds. He was a walking time bomb. After week 1, I told him to bump up his calories to 2,100 a day. He looked at me like I suggested he drank some cooking oil, but he trusted the process. He started weighing everything, tracking properly. The scale still moved, just at a sensible pace. 2 to 3 pounds a week at first, then 1 to 2 pounds as he got leaner. By the end, he was down 50 pounds. That was over a year ago and he's still lean. No rebound, no more yo-yo dieting. And Hassam isn't alone. Nearly every man I speak to falls for the same trap, eating way too little and being absurdly strict Monday to Thursday, then face planting into a pizza by Friday night. Those cheat meals and late night binges aren't about willpower. They're your biology fighting back. Your body isn't daft. Those weeks where you lose 8 pounds, Most of it isn't fat, it's water, glycogen, muscle, and yes, some fat, but not in the ratio we want. The research is there. If you're losing more than 1% of your body weight per week after the first month, you're likely sacrificing muscle along with fat. But there's a bit of leeway the first 3 to 4 weeks, what I call the honeymoon period, where you might lose 1.5% or maybe even more a week, especially if you're starting with a higher body fat percentage. But after that, slow and steady wins the race. So here's your next action step. If you're dropping more than 1% of your body weight per week after your first month, start tracking your calories accurately. If you're eating less than 10 calories per pound of your body weight, it's time to eat more, not less. Yes, sometimes you have to eat more to lose fat the right way. And the final sign, it's the one that ends most fat loss attempts before you're anywhere near 15% body fat. And it's the one almost everyone misses until it's too late. The text came through at 6 a.m. as I was walking to the gym. Adam, am I supposed to be this hungry? All I can think about is food and I can barely function at work. But the scales are barely moving. Has my metabolism adapted? That was Dave, week 6. I could practically feel the frustration bleeding through my phone. Here's the thing. Dave was nailing everything. Sleep, water, 160 grams of protein, fiber, the lot. On paper, he was the perfect client. But when we jumped on our check-in call, the truth finally slipped out. Dave's voice dropped to a whisper. He'd actually been eating 1,500 calories instead of the 1,800 target. I just wanted to help speed things up, he said, sounding like a man who'd realized he'd made a terrible miscalculation. By shorting himself 2,100 calories a week, mostly from whole foods, Dave had set himself up for disaster. Come the weekend, with more free time and less structure, he'd end up cancelling out his entire deficit by demolishing anything that wasn't nailed down. That's a classic restrict binge cycle that keeps men stuck for years. Had he just eaten those extra 300 calories a day, he wouldn't have been climbing the walls by Friday night, dreaming about stuffing his face. Here's what we did to get Dave finally losing fat without losing his mind. We made sure he was actually hitting his target, or at least getting much closer. More potatoes, more beans, some more berries. Boring, reliable carbs that actually keep you full. And this is probably the most important part. We planned for his weekly meal out, helping him navigate the rest of the day and crucially getting back on track the next morning instead of just writing off the whole weekend. Just 48 hours later, Dave messaged me, I feel so much better, this almost feels easy now. He ended up losing 29 pounds and getting to 13% body fat, all by eating more, not less. Let's be clear, some hunger is normal. About 4 or 5 out of 10 on a hunger scale means you're in fat loss mode. But if you're so ravenous you can't focus and one meal turns out to be an all-out binge, you're doing it wrong. You're far better off factoring those meals out than pretending you're a robot. You can't discipline your hunger hormones into submission. They've been evolving for millions of years. You've been on your diet for what, let's say 3 weeks? Work with your biology, not against it. Don't try to undershoot your targets to speed things up. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. It's exactly like saving money. You're on track to hit your goal. Then you suddenly decide to save an extra 20%. Next thing you know, you're struggling to get by day by day, and the sacrifice becomes impossible to sustain. Of course, budgeting won't work if you suddenly make it twice as hard. Neither will your deficit. Everyone needs a calorie deficit to lose fat, but most men crash from undereating, then fold. You don't need more willpower. Fat loss isn't about making it harder, it's about making it as easy as possible. In my program, I give you 22 years of research, client work, consultations, and personal experience so you can finally stop the endless dieting cycle. Are you not tired of losing the same 20 to 30 pounds repeatedly, telling yourself, oh, this time is different, while using the same failed approaches? We can end this cycle together. Go over to the description and apply to work with me. If I feel like I can help, we'll book in a free call to discuss the strategic body blueprint. After over 6 years of coaching online, I only take on clients I know I can help. And if you're still worried about losing muscle, watch this video next for the top 5 strength training myths while losing fat. The third one shocks most people. I'll see you there.